wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. All right, last night basketball. The Knicks beat the Celtics 108-105. New York leads the series 1-0.
Big win. That was
man.
Unexpected. They did that at TD Garden.
That's right. They were actually down by like over 10, 12 points and came back and actually won. Great game. And the Nuggets beat the Thunder last night 121-119. That was another great game. So basketball's looking
Thunder
great.
got to be
Feeling great.
careful with that one. You know, Nuggets have been champions before. They have a championship mentality. The Thunder going to have to be very careful with that one.
Yeah.
That's a series that could easily go to the Nuggets.
All right. Well, good morning, Morgan.
Y'all feeling on this beautiful Tuesday?
Blessed, black, and highly favored.
Oh, yes, I love the energy. All right, so let's get into it. First up on the front page, the Trump administration is offering $1,000 to illegal immigrants if they self-deport using a government app. Now, the Department of Homeland Security said the payments will be made after their return has been confirmed through the Customs and Border Protection Home app. It's also known as the CBP Home app.
Boy,
now,
if y'all fall for that one, y'all crazy. If y'all get on that app and put in all your information to get that $1,000, y'all are crazy.
Do they got to pay for their own flight, or does the government pay for their flight?
No, that is what Trump is essentially saying, is that we're going to set you up on a beautiful flight and send you home. So President Trump addressed the program.
And I guarantee you won't leave with $1,000 either. I guarantee that. That's a trap.
So he addressed the program while speaking at the White House yesterday, saying those who choose to self-deport could eventually return to the U.S. legally. Let's take a listen to President Trump's comments on self-deportation.
What we thought we'd do is a self-deport, where we're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from. If they make it, we're going to work with them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people, if they're the kind of people that we want in our company, industrious people that could love our country.
He called it a company. He was right about that. Listen, if you fall for that trap, you crazy.
Business. So the app's webpage estimates that once approved, undocumented migrants would typically depart the U.S. within 3 weeks. Those who submit their intent to voluntary self-deport will also be deprioritized for detention and removal ahead of their departure. So Trump also said that those who choose to adhere to the app given through the deadline given through the app will be deported and with an unlikely path to return to the U.S., adding that the process will be much tougher for those people. Yeah, so it does. Well, you know, take it how you want to take it. $1,000. Is it worth it to you? In other presidential news, Trump is scheduled to meet with Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House today, although he's not exactly sure why. Trump believes the Prime Minister wants to make a deal with him on tariffs. Let's take a listen to that audio.
I don't know, he's coming to see me. I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. They all want to make a deal because we have something that they all want. We have something that they all want. China wants to make a deal very badly. You see what's happening to China. China's being decimated, and I don't want that to happen.
So the high stakes meeting between Trump and the Canadian Prime Minister is in the midst of the trade war between the two countries. Now, Trump has also increased tensions, suggesting that Canada should be part of the U.S. As a 51st state. And of course, this will be Carney's first trip to Washington since he was elected last week. So we will see what happens as a result of that. Also coming out of the White House, you guys, that was announced yesterday that the NFL will be holding the NFL draft. The 2027 NFL draft will be held on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. This will be the first time the city has hosted the event since 1941 when it took place at the Willard Hotel. So the Bears selected Michigan halfback Tom Harmon, father of actor Mark Harmon, in that first overall pick. So it's a lot of stuff coming out of the White House, but you know, I'm going to keep you up to date on all of that on your front page news.
All right. Thank you, Morgan. We'll see you next hour. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Now, last night, sports. The Nuggets beat the Thunder 121-119. They lead the series 1-0. And the Knicks beat the Celtics 108-105. The Knicks lead 1-0. Congratulations.
By the way, those are both considered upsets.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Thunder is what, the number one seed? No, Thunder and Celtics number one
They
seed.
both number one seed. Well, no. I think
not?
Cavaliers. Yeah, they're number 2.
Oh, Celtics number 2. Yeah.
Celtics number 2. Morning, Morgan.
Hey, y'all. Hey. All right, let's get back into the front page news. So the Real ID deadline is tomorrow on Wednesday. The Trump administration says all states will need to comply by the May 7th deadline. Real ID is an enhanced security driver's license that will be needed to board any domestic, that's stateside, airline flight in lieu of a passport. So if you do have a passport, I believe that you will be okay at least to travel, but you will still need to get your real ID and become real ID compliant. Now, some states are complaining of long lines at the DMV, MVA, MVD, whatever you call it. It's Department of Motor Vehicles. And then there are anticipated delays. There will be anticipated delays at airports, long lines at airports in the coming weeks and days as a result of this. Speaking of airports, flight delays and cancellations continue at Liberty Newark International Airport, while United Airlines is recommending travelers consider another airport for their plans. Now, New York Senator Chuck Schumer, he's calling on the U.S. Inspector General to investigate continued chaos at Newark International. Schumer says the Federal Aviation Administration is a total mess with air traffic control staff shortages wreaking havoc on travel. Now, he wants the probe to figure out if DOGE cuts impacted the agency's efficiency along with aging technology that is failing. Let's take a listen to Senator Chuck Schumer's comments.
Well, to say that there is just minor turbulence at Newark Airport and the FAA, that would be the understatement of the year. We know that airlines have been canceling flights. We have ATC folks giving warnings. We have a 1990 technology being used in 2025, and we have safety issues, plain and simple.
Yo, I was reading this article over the weekend that talked about how an air traffic controller was warning that Newark was unsafe for travel and you should avoid Newark at all costs. But I literally, when I was flying back from Chicago yesterday, I was saying that. I was saying how, like, yo, these technologies on these planes are so dated. Because even when I was flying back into LaGuardia last night, they had a slight hold because they couldn't land yet because something was going on at the airport. But you could just tell that the technology at these airports is just old and outdated. Yeah. You could just tell. And then when we landed at LaGuardia, people were sleeping. Like, you would think it was the holidays. Like, it was just a random Monday night, 11 o'clock at night. People were sleeping. Flights were delayed. People's flights got canceled. It was crazy. And this was at LaGuardia.
Wow. And of course, New York Senior Senator Schumer, he says he wants to ensure that the problem doesn't get any worse or spread. And of course, this comes as Newark Airport has been experiencing ongoing delays since last week. I believe there was a 90-second blackout on April 28th with radar and communications that supposedly, left things really, really bad. And in fact, a lot of those air traffic controllers walked off the job saying that they are dealing with trauma leave and as a result of all of this chaos. And what's going on.
April 28th was last Monday, right?
Yeah.
That happened to us. We had to land. We was coming from Orlando and had to land in Richmond because the radars were out at Newark.
That's crazy.
So authorities essentially are saying try another airport if you can. And,
you got to tell me twice.
Yeah, I usually take LaGuardia anyway. LaGuardia or JFK. I'd rather take the extra little trip than to go to Newark because Newark is just...
And that's the craziest thing ever because I fly in and out of Newark almost every week. And that's like the best airport to me. But god damn, I hate going to New York to fly.
Now listen, that new Newark terminal is dope now. I think it's Terminal A. That terminal is...
You said Newark.
Yeah, Newark.
Yes, but I love the airport.
But the fact that it's unsafe to travel.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell me twice to not travel out of there. But I use the airport like all the time.
Right.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. Switching gears, New York Attorney General Letitia James is leading a coalition of 19 other attorneys general ensuing to block the Trump administration from dismantling the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Now, she says those affected by HHS cuts are 9/11 heroes and more. Let's take a listen to New York Attorney General Letitia James' comments.
And since taking office, this administration has fired scientists, closed labs, shuttered life-saving programs without rhyme, reason, or any legal authority, will be denied care because this administration chose to fire their doctors. And at the same time, children in New York and across the country are at risk of losing access to Head Start.
She called the mass firings illegal, dangerous, and cruel. James also said that those at risk include children, working parents, seniors, foster families, and those who struggle with mental health and substance abuse, in addition to first responders who will be impacted by that. The cuts and restructuring affect departments like the FDA, CDC, and National Institutes of Health. So I will continue to keep you posted on that in terms of what happens in that coalition and their efforts. And closing things out, closing Arce. arguments are wrapping up in the murder trial of 3 former Memphis police officers who are being charged in the beating death of Tyre Nichols. Now, the prosecution says the case boils down to the simple fact, while the attorney for the accused officers made his closing arguments. Let's take a listen to those closing arguments.
That night, January 7th, 2023, those 3 officers did bad things.
Public officials put their lives on the line for us each day, and they're trying to do right. So it's not a case where they're abusing the badge and trying to go out there and prove a point.
So over 6 days, attorneys called 17 witnesses, including a police trainer who admitted the force used on Nichols was excessive. None of the former officers testified in that trial. Prosecutors previously rested their case after calling 5 witnesses, saying video evidence clearly shows what happened that night in 2023. And closing arguments will continue today. And then we will be on verdict watch, and I will keep you posted as to what happens in that case and that trial as well. That's your front page news, y'all. Follow me on socials at Morgan Media, MorganMedia. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Thank you.
Peace, Morgan.
All right, Morgan.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.